So this weekend, we had the follow-up to last year's blockbuster YouTube boxing event, Creator Clash 2. After the rip-roaring success of last year's event, it was incredibly nice to see more of this come back with more creators and even more production value. I was ecstatic when this was announced, and even more ecstatic to learn that I had made the trailer.
Creator Clash was an incredible success.
I was hooked to my screen What the fuck? So in the style of last year's Creator Clash, I thought I'd make a quick little video talking about this event, talking about what I liked and what I'd like to see from it going forward. First things first, I absolutely loved Creator Clash 2. It was so exciting to have so many great creators coming together with such an amazing production value on every single part of it. Having Mark and Jack doing hosting, having Esfand and Amaranth doing the interviews and things, and then having such a great lineup of different fighters. Every single match brought so much energy and excitement, and even with the creators that I didn't really know as well, the interviews and the little packages that they do before really helped line up who these people are and why you should care about each individual fight. And it is important to know that everybody did their jobs incredibly well with this. Mark and Jack make an amazing hosting duo for the pre and post show. They had loads of energy, they were enthusiastic about the whole thing, they were fantastic. Esfand and Amaranth played their roles very well just to get into each of those fights, interviewing each of the fighters before. Moist Critical, Wade Plemons and Tony Jeffries were expert at all the commentary, and obviously we had Chills doing all of those ring interviews. I really enjoyed last year's event, but I didn't realize just how much I was going to like this one. There were points during some of the entries of some of the fighters as they were walking into their music where I actually almost got emotional. Everything about it was just so fun, and everyone was enjoying it so much. The whole crowd was so involved in the whole thing, and it's such a great event to raise money for charity and put on just a fantastic show for everyone watching. So a huge congratulations to iDubbbz and everyone involved in this show for putting on one of the best events for YouTubing ever. And obviously this wouldn't be a boxing event review video without reviewing some of the fights. So first up we had Jack Manifold versus Dakota Olave. This fight was really exciting for me because it was just really nice to see the UK being represented in some of these fights. And what was even better is that Jack even took the win. Jack managed to absolutely dominate the ring, and both fighters were just absolutely laying into each other. But Jack really did deserve the win on this one. This was a great first fight for the show, and during the post-match interview, Jack even said something that was really poignant. Everyone is a winner in this event because so much money is being raised for charity. In the second fight, we had Jay LaRae versus Alanah Sabrina. Jay LaRae just came storming out of the gate in this fight like a warrior, and Alanah Sabrina was taking so many punches to the face that I don't know how any of them can actually do this without just going, that's enough. If that was me, I'd take one and I'd either cry or just hop out the ring. I don't know how these people managed to do this for so long. Jay definitely rocked the fight with a number of powerful jabs, and this was another great round. We were only in the second fight. Next up, we had Nathan Barnett, aka Dad, versus AB Starkiller from H3 Podcast. Now, Dad has all the energy of a rabid Yorkshire Terrier, and after seeing how he murdered Matt Watson in 22 seconds in the last Creator Clash, it was probably time to see him fight for a little longer. And whilst it was longer, it didn't last as long as you'd expect. They got to the end of the first round, and they basically announced a TKO because Dad was just ruthless. Seeing some of the body shots that he was doing liquefied my insides just by watching. The next fight we had was William Haynes versus Chris Raygun. Now, I have to confess these were two creators that I don't really know, but apparently William Haynes only had 3 weeks notice before this fight, which makes it all the more impressive that he managed to win by a TKO in that time. Next up was Alanah Pearce versus Mika. Now, Alanah Pearce was one of the handful of fights in this that I was really looking forward to, and again, both of these fighters had been preparing for long enough that it made this really exciting. Alanah was like a sort of steel monolith that was just holding W on the keyboard, just walking into Mika the whole time, just kangaroo punching her way through it. Whenever she wasn't doing that, she just had her gloves against her cheeks and was taking every punch and not flinching. It was remarkable. All of this is made even more impressive by the fact that Mika wasn't pulling any of those punches. There was some real oomph behind those. Next up, we had Myth versus Kratos, the god of war. I know I made this joke in last year's video, but this fight was genuinely like watching Kratos fighting the concept of speed. There was one point where Myth absolutely decked Hundar with a huge punch, and it was genuinely frightening. It absolutely turned his lights out. Myth definitely deserved the win, but boy, I wasn't actually expecting it to go that way. Then there was this weird fight that was sort of a publicity and a promotion for a Crash Bandicoot thing. We got to watch not Dr. Disrespect versus not Crash Bandicoot. This was a weird fight, and I guess it was there to promote the open beta of the upcoming Crash battle game. It was definitely strange. Fun, but strange. Next up, we had Haley Sharp versus Marisha Ray. So Haley obviously took part in last year's Creator Clash against Justin Minks, and it was super interesting after that fight to see her come back quite literally swinging. I audibly gasped at some of the punches that she threw at Marisha right in her face. It was an amazing fight, and Marisha stuck through some huge hits right through to the last round. No, seriously, I would have been laid out flat by one of those punches, and Marisha took about 100 of them, so credit where credit's due. That shit was hardcore. Next up was another fight I really wanted to see, Arin Hanson versus Jarvis Johnson. So last year at Creator Clash, Arin was up against Harley from Epic Mealtime, and that was basically like putting Arin in a ring with a real-life bear. So it was way more interesting to see an even fight between Arin and Jarvis, watching them absolutely batter each other with everything they had, especially in the first round. The tank started to run very low very quickly, but Arin managed to get in some amazing uppercuts, and it was just a great display from him. And Arin even took the win, which after last year's disappointment, I'm sure was a great feeling for him. So congratulations to Arin. This was another really good fight. Next up, we had Michelle Carre versus Andrea Botez. So Andrea Botez was taking part in Ludwig's chess boxing tournament the other day and apparently lost her time, so was coming back in this with blood frenzy. Michelle was dancing around the ring with serious athleticism, and Andrea managed to stay pretty grounded and land some hits, just slowly chipping away that damage. Michelle is also just lethal in a clinch with some real rib-shattering body shots going on. I actually thought that Andrea would take this one, especially off the back of the Ludwig tournament, but Michelle just had this lightning athleticism that just didn't slow down. It was almost like Dragon Ball Super with the tournament of power energy right at the end. She just came out in that final round and just took the win. Another amazing fight. They were all amazing fights, but this one was great. The commentators even said that she was the most technically brilliant fighter yet, and as a man who has no idea about boxing, I'm inclined to agree. Next up, we had CrankGameplays versus Leon Hart. Now, the CrankGameplays fight was basically one of the hotly anticipated fights for this entire card. People were really wanting to see exactly how Ethan was going to do. I had a nasty feeling that Leon Hart was going to absolutely lay Ethan out in this one, but he was rocking that Matt Watson energy, for better or worse. Leon Hart came out looking like a monster in this fight, but Ethan was just managing to keep that nimble energy. As the commentators were saying, he was a gymnast before, so the guy has stamina. Honestly, I was expecting this fight to sort of be over in the first round or two, but to watch Ethan get a TKO and to hear the roar of the crowd and to watch him cheering to his friends with Mark and Jack there right in front of him, all of that was so exciting and heartwarming, and Twitter blew up. He's a fan favorite, and to see him win was an amazing feeling, so congratulations to CrankGameplays. Then we get down to the co-main event, John Randall Hennigan versus Harley Morenstein of Epic Mealtime. As I mentioned earlier, Harley was in last year's Creator Clash and basically destroyed Arin Hanson like a mother bear in the woods. And after seeing Harley pummel Arin at the last event, seeing him get literally punched out of the ring was definitely unexpected. Harley had the reach on him. The guy's got arms like Mr. Tickle, but it simply wasn't enough, and John absolutely controlled this fight. But Harley is resilient as f***. And what an ending to the fight. A huge right hook from John, absolutely leveling a literal behemoth of a man. Forget David versus Goliath. This was Goliath versus Goliath. And what a fight to whet the appetite for this next and final round. But before then, the Super Mega Boys took to the ring to sing the national anthem. Being that Super Mega is my favorite YouTube channel, I was so happy that they were still involved, because they were both boxing in the last one, and they're still involved in this. And naturally, it was as f***ing weird as you'd expect.
Oh, say, can you see?
I was actually watching it with a couple of friends, and one of them is also a big Super Mega fan, and he called the kiss before they got in the ring. Maybe that was predictable, but I'll tell you what wasn't predictable was Matt ripping open his own skin to reveal that he doesn't have DNA, he has USA. So this was it, the final round. Alex Wassabi versus iDubbbz. Now, this was a conflicting fight for me to have to try and cheer on. On the one hand, I've edited a vlog for Alex Wassabi in the past, but on the other hand, iDubbbz follows me on Twitter, and so now we're best friends. In round 1, Alex was throwing some serious punches, but Ian was doing a great job to keep his momentum through all that he was receiving. In the second round, Ian was throwing way more intensity straight off the bat. Every time Ian would manage to get a couple of hits in, Alex would get him in the clinch, which just stopped him from getting those powerful blows in. In round 3, again, Ian straight out of the corner, starting with fire, putting the pressure on. It's amazing how these two can block something and then instantly respond with almost an anime-style flurry of punches. Going into the final round, the final moments of the event, Alex definitely seemed to be feeling the drain and was looking for that big hook to end it, but Ian just kept the pressure on. They were definitely taking some heavy blows between those clinches, and it was looking like Alex could win on points, which was exactly what ended up happening. Yes, Alex Wassabi took the win for Creator Clash 2, only by a couple of points in the split decision, but what a final round to witness and to headline this brilliant event. We also had an incredibly heartfelt and emotional speech from iDubbbz at the end, thanking everyone involved, thanking everyone for watching, and talking about all the charities that this was helping. Honestly, like I said at the top of the video, I loved every second of this. Some events that I've watched in the past, not including Creator Clashes, I've been watching them and I tune out and I look at my phone. With this, I was glued to my screen the entire time. It's a brilliant show. They do so much work to make this look as amazing as it does. The great packages, the great interviews, amazing fights, just constant, non-stop entertainment. It's brilliant what they do at Creator Clash, and I can't wait to see Creator Clash 3. So that brings us to the question, who do you want to see fighting in Creator Clash 3? I've mentioned in the past that I'd quite like to see someone like Asmongold take on Danny Sexbang from Game Grumps, but I don't think either of those would want to fight. Maybe let's try something else. Maybe let's try someone like Hasanabi versus Shane Top from Smosh. Let's see Amaranth versus Jessica Negri. There's so many great fights that you could do in this, and I'm so excited to see what next year's card may have. But who do you guys want to see in Creator Clash 3? Let me know down in those comments, and we'll try and review some of those later. But like I said, congratulations to iDubbbz and everybody involved with Creator Clash 2 for putting on one of the best ever YouTube shows. And like I said in my last video, why stop at boxing? Let's bring back gladiators. Let's have more good YouTube events with good quality and raising some good money for charity. And so with that in mind, thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next event. The video's over, goodbye.